Welcome back. Well, the holidays are certainly going to look a lot different this year, of course, because of COVID-19. And if you're tempted to defy those public health restrictions, well, think again. Nainesh Kotak joins me now, lawyer at Kotak Personal Injury Law, to talk about how we can avoid personal liability during the holiday season. Nainesh, great to have you on the program.
Thank you. Great to be on.
You know, it's an important conversation as we've been talking with healthcare officials, infectious disease experts saying, what do we need to do? And the big concern, of course, in those hotspot zones is it's the holiday season. People should not be gathering, not be having parties. But there are areas where you can still have some sense of gathering. Talk to us about the legal consequences if you're not following the rules. What exactly can happen here?
Well, first of all, as we know, there are penalties for not following regulations, particularly as we look to where there's gray zones and red zones. There are significant fines that can be given to hosts as well as guests who come to homes. But we can look at it even further, the potential civil responsibility, that is of being sued if somebody comes to your home and catches COVID, and it can be established that the causation, that it came from your home and one of your guests or yourself. So the one big issue is going to be, I think, whether your home insurance will cover you in the event such a situation happens. Some insurance policies in Canada have a provision that excludes communicable diseases. In other words, if you spread a disease, you're not going to be covered. And we're seeing this now, more policies are having this. In fact, when policies come up for renewal, we should watch for this because they're likely going to be there. The other thing to watch out for is there are other exclusions in insurance policies that for criminal acts or for intentional acts or unlawful acts. And you have to really look at the policy, because if you allow people into your home, and there's certain areas in the country that are in a gray zone where you simply cannot do it. So if you do that, you really run the risk if something happens, including the spread of COVID, that your insurance company may not cover you. And what that means is this: not that they won't pay the damages if there are any, because for the person suing, it may be very hard to prove it in the first place, but they won't pay for legal representation to help defend the claim. So you really have to obviously be careful, follow public guidelines, public health guidelines, but also look at your insurance policy to see if there's coverage. Because yes, if those exclusions are not there, conceivably they would be coverage. But you really have to be careful and look at the policy.
Yeah, and of course, as you say, they're really reading it carefully, reading the fine print. But what are you concerned about? You know, because it's such a difficult area to tread in when clearly, you know, when we look at what our numbers have been, and not just in Ontario, but we look right across the country, and you're hearing from health officials saying, you know what, let's just not gather. Let's just not do it. Let's just, you know, hunker down as best that we possibly can. So as a lawyer, what are you looking out for? What are you concerned about?
Right. Look, there's the major concern is this. Look, this is holiday season, and by its very nature of celebration, as human beings, we get together with our families, and it's really a question: can we put this off 1 year and celebrate more so when this all passes? Hopefully next year. Because if we don't, not only do we run the risk of spreading COVID to our loved ones and people we care about, we really run the risk of quasi-criminal responsibility in terms of fines, but also potential legal consequences in terms of potential lawsuits that could occur, whether those lawsuits are successful or not. Because again, the person suing has to prove that it was caused by the gathering and some negligence on the part of the homeowner or occupant. But really, is it worth taking that chance? Probably not, because it's going to cost emotion and it's going to cost a fair bit of money to sort things out with your insurance company should something bad happen.
Yeah, and it's got to be all about us taking care of each other and getting through this together. Certainly, Nainesh Kotak, lawyer at Kotak Personal Injury Law. Always great to have you on the program, Nainesh. Thanks a lot for the advice on that.